Welcome to Late Breakfast. I'm Taurian B.
I'm First Class Regg.
Welcome back, everybody. This week, we are going to talk about disgruntled artists. There are three artists in particular that are very upset with their labels or their management. First off, Harlem native Tiana Taylor announced that she is going to retire from recording music because she feels extremely unsupported by her label Def Jam. She just recently released a really good album this year, and she felt like she kind of like got no support from that, right? There was no push behind that, and her album prior to that was a part of that whole 7-song rollout that Good Music did. So, and she said that wasn't even that, like, when we heard the album is when she heard the album. Like, she recorded it, she submitted it, and then it was a completely different album. So she's this artist with this promising career, all this talent, and she's not getting what she feels she deserves. So I'm gonna get into the next two, and then we're going to talk about it, right? The next situation is Saweetie with her concept. She had a situation where her album put out a record with her and Doja Cat, and it wasn't the record that she wanted to be put out or that she submitted.
A record, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
A record label, yeah. And it wasn't what she wanted to be out, and she was very upset with that. And she feels like that the label is like sabotaging her because I think she wanted a different they wanted a different single than the single that she wanted to push for. So she feels like they kind of like did it on purpose to kind of make her look silly. So, in that sense, that's another example of, artists pretty much having the power taken away from them. And, a lot of people assume that she was with QC because of who her boyfriend is, her significant other, but that's not the case. And then the third situation is really funny to me, actually. Chance the Rapper. Chance the Rapper and his manager ex-manager are at odds right now. When Chance the Rapper first burst onto the scene, it was a really, he had like a lot of like attention, a lot of fanfare around him being independent, and him and his manager at the time had a lot of, good marketing skills, ideals that really worked for Chance to, catapult him to like stardom, get this groundbreaking Apple Music deal. But for his last project, Chance announced the album date before he even recorded a word, and he had to cancel his tour. It was in the middle of it was like in the middle of him getting married. So there were all of these distractions that he had that basically set him up for failure. And he didn't listen to his management. So after that, when everything went wrong, Chance fired his manager and hired his father and his brother to work on his career, because I guess he felt like, I got here, like, what could be so hard about it? So he's suing Chance for $3 million because he basically saying, it's your fault why your album sucked. And he's suing him for that. So that's three different examples of how, artists in the industry right now are disgruntled. Obviously, we've had other examples. Earlier this year, Megan Thee Stallion was also at odds with her record label, and she wanted to get out of the deal because she basically signed like one of the worst deals in like music history. And her management company, Rock Nation, helped her out with that. And I think she's like in a legal battle now with that situation. So with me giving you those three topics, guys, or three examples, let's talk about it. Who y'all want to get into first? Like which situation y'all want to talk about?
Let's talk about Chance Mid the Rapper.
I love talking about Mario the Rapper. Let's start with
I feel bad for the manager because he did put out some mid. He got more mid than he got hits. But that's not really what it is right now. Put everything in paper. It's okay to put everything in paper. I hope the manager gets what he deserves. But at the same time, we got to look at the law. It's not about, who's right, who's wrong here. It's about the law. Do you have it in writing? Will it hold up in court? I'm not an entertainment lawyer, so I can't really answer those questions, but I can present them. Will it hold up in court? And if it does hold up in court, will it set a precedent? That's all I have to say.
It sounds like Chance was just stubborn here. It sounds like Chance was just riding a wave off of the audience he already built and kind of got cocky in the sense that he was just like, well, my fans, I'm already transparent with my fans. They know what type of person I am, and they're just gonna be happy to see that I'm married and that I'm happy and that, and it didn't go over well. He didn't take his time because he took the audience that he built with it for granted. So
I just like, he's a fraud. I know he's a fraud. I feel it in my bones that he's a
All right, Julius.
Yo, he froze. Look at him froze.
So
fraud. Don't take me.
I'm sorry. So it's just funny because, I mean, like, when you really think about it, like him and Pat, the man, his name is Pat the manager, Pat Cochran. It's really just funny with that story because they had such a great thing going with what Chance did, and the facade of, like, we know that like Chance the Rapper has deals, but he was saying that he's completely independent and he's doing all of this. And I think the reason why Pat is suing him is because he had a system in line for Chance's success. And he felt that what he was doing with Chance was the only way that Chance could be successful. And Chance kind of fucked it up by drinking his own Kool-Aid, actually thinking that he could be a successful artist without him. And I think that Pat, the manager, actually proves himself correct. And I don't think he'll get the $3 million that he's asking for, but I do think that he's going to get a handsome settlement out of court. I think.
Do you think he's gonna have a whole bunch of dreadheaded niggas in his lobby?
Who's next? Right?
Don't worry, all my jokes don't hit. It's okay, Rob.
I guess you can move. Well, if everybody shared, I guess you can move.
No, I was gonna say it's
okay, Rob.
All right, so it's your show.
Like,
what you want to
but
do?
now, like, honestly, like, have everything in writing. Like, have everything in writing with your manager, with your lawyer, with everything. Like, if you have it in writing, like, you're safe. That's it. Like, the verbal contracts and verbal agreements, it really don't fly well with me. Have everything in writing.
No, it wasn't verbal. That's the thing. It's not verbal.
Okay, so it's not verbal because I thought it was verbal. I read that it was verbal.
So no, the thing is the reason why he's suing him is for the money that they anticipated to make if they actually would have did the album rollout properly.
So yeah, he definitely deserves that money. Chance the Rapper. Good luck on moving from your penthouse.
But so my question is,
he should have stayed out of social media.
My bad. Hold on, Rob. My question is, did the manager lose out on that much money from this rollout?
We don't. Well,
I mean, realistically, think about it. They had to cancel the entire tour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So they had an estimate of what they could have made. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he just threw it out there. But Rob, what did you have to say? Go ahead.
I think that Chance was feeling himself way too much. He was on social media too much, butting into people's business where he shouldn't have been butting into people's business instead of working on his music. Then the album rollout was completely terrible. The album had holes in it. You didn't know who was featured on the album. It didn't make any sense.
Bro,
it was a lot of things.
Bro, it was a CD with glitter on it. I'm cool, bro.
Like,
bro,
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with glitter, but it was just like, I think he blew up. I think we may have given Chance too much credit coming out of that.
Y'all OD gas Chance, bro.
Out of the Coloring Book album.
Chance was good.
I don't think anybody gassed Chance. I think Chance gassed himself, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
but we're the ones that fit into it.
Said it. Gas me up. Gas me up. Come on, y'all. Gas me up.
Yeah. He got gas.
Like we were like, oh, Coloring Book, Chance 3. When does it come out? We kind of like,
I gave that man too much power.
It was that goddamn SNL performance. That SNL performance with Kanye, that's what made him transcend. And niggas was like, yeah, Chance not that bad. Chance is dope. and like we started looking from there, like really tuning in. Like,
bro, and as Kanye was wilding out,
yeah,
it started to look like he was making more sense. So we were extra with Chance.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So you remember Chance? You remember Kanye was like, "Yo, I'm for Trump," and Chance was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna put on this 3 hats."
Yeah.
So we perpetuated him to flop. We made him flop.
He was trying to be like
that album out and smooth sailing.
He was trying to be like the savior of shit. He was like, guys, oh, they're gonna cancel SoundCloud. No, let me make a call. Like he called and got that stop. Like he was just doing mad shit, and we're like,
bro, he
okay.
was Mario the rapper. He was running around in a jumpsuit, eating mushrooms with a hat, with his flower power. He was doing a lot, bro. He was really doing a lot. Okay. Every time someone was an issue, I protect women, I protect men, I protect people. Like it was like, yo, no one asked you, Chance.
All right, so moving along, Teyana Taylor. What do you guys make of this? She's not really retiring, but she basically has asked the label, as she said in her post, over 20 times to drop her. But obviously, the label feels like they invested a lot of money into her work, right? I'll be the bad guy here, right? So I'm going to present it from the label's position. Teyana Taylor samples a lot. Teyana Taylor samples a lot. Rob, you can't beat me. Teyana Taylor, she uses a lot of samples. She's a female artist, so that takes a lot of money to invest into her, right? Her tours, she has very, very very detailed sets, and she has to all of her dancers have to look exactly like her, and she's a dancer, so a lot of basically what she's putting out like a Janet Jackson production kind of set. So that costs a lot of money, right? So I think what happens is that she kind of eats up all of whatever her money is for her budget. And then she's kind of left with very little. And then it comes time for promo. And then the label's like, yo, we don't have no more money to give you. And your sales aren't astronomical. They're just okay. If you toned it down, we'd probably be able to do this. And I think Tiana's the type, she's like, I'm not taking any shorts. And Teyana came up around Pharrell, Kanye West. She's best friends with Chris Brown. So she has all these people that are around her that are really, megastar artists. So I think that she knows what she can get, but because it's not coming back, the label kind of shuts her down, and I think it's frustrating for her. And I think this is the thing that happens, and this is why they're at a standstill now. She's they're sell more records. She's spend more money, So it's that kind of thing.
Well, I don't know how much of that is actually true, though. Do we know that for a fact that she's asking for too much in the sense of production? Or
labels always think that an artist is asking for too much because they always feel like what they're putting out is, the standard for what an artist wants. I'm not saying that she's wrong for asking for the things that she wants, anything like that. I just wanted to present from the label what they feel like they're doing. And that's why they won't drop her. They're like, yo, we want you here. We just think that we got to meet a middle ground on what's spent.
Well, for me, I don't know how much of that is actually true because I think Teyana is such a talented individual that she could do the most minimal thing and it would still, be good. She doesn't need the backup dancers, for example. So she doesn't need to do all of that. It could be minimal. Just put the money more for distribution purposes and marketing purposes because that's where the label is lacking to do their job. I feel like they are letting her down when it comes to distribution and marketing because it's not I ask, are people appreciating real R&B anymore, or is there not a market for R&B music or something? But all I hear is how much we miss and need real R&B. So there is a market for it. I just think it's really about the distribution deal that she has and the record label that she signs with, so to really understand what's going on with Teyana Taylor, we must first understand and dissect what's happening with the record label that she's signed to. Because to be honest, I know you said Def Jam, but she's Good Music, and Good Music is with Def Jam, I believe. Mm-hmm. So it's to be honest, Good Music has been on a downfall since 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to be honest, what happened during that time anyway with 2015 with Kanye? He got married to a Kardashian. So is it a coincidence? I think not. It's the Kardashian curse. So, and no, I don't agree. It's because Pusha T became president, because those are just titles. It doesn't matter. I like Pusha T, so I'm not going to go with that whole theory. Since he became president, Good Music is not. It's Kanye. He kind of abandoned his label the way he abandoned the Black community. So that's my take on that.
Well, okay, so just back to that, because she made some really good points.
God damn! All right,
she made some solid points, but the only thing that I disagree with is because, like, I spoke to Taurian about this the other day, where I think we were talking about Push's title and how it doesn't really mean anything right now. We don't know what the fuck it means. Like, he's just kind of there, just like filling in, and we don't know exactly what he's in control of. So there has been a downward spiral since he became president. Like, that's just evident. Like, that's just there, right?
Wasn't there a spiral before that?
Huh?
You don't think there was a spiral? Like, when Kanye was ahead of good music, he was only as good as the good music artists were putting out next to him. They weren't standalones. So it's like, we can't say that, although as much as we love Dark Skies Paradise and it was a good music album, it was very close to Kanye why that album was successful. You look at Finally Famous, the first one, very close to Kanye as to why it was successful.
Well, Big Sean is Kanye's artist.
Bro, you're naming everything that happens. You're naming everything that happens typically with a leader and a pact. Like, that happened with fucking Saint.
But that's what I'm saying.
All of them was getting platinum albums.
But that's what
they was standing next to the leader.
Yeah, but I feel like in Tiana's case, unfortunately, I think Tiana has been mishandled by every person that's been with that she's let handle her career. Like, so Pharrell didn't do right by her. Kanye didn't do right by her. So now I look at her and say, when are you going to take responsibility for your career and align yourself with people who are genuinely interested in your best interest?
She's trying, but they won't release her.
Because that last album, some people may say the album was good, but honestly, the album was too long. It was way too long. And then when it was time to actually promote the album and go on tour, you got pregnant. And then the album before that, when she was performing, she wasn't getting the right looks. She was getting like small ass venues. I saw her perform at like Revolt Theater with a brand new album. I'm like, yo, how did that happen?
That's not her fault. That's the ticket.
But is that a promo or the label?
No, okay, so this
the album was like 24 songs, and she started the album giving birth. Like, I didn't want to hear that process at all.
All right, so listen, hold on 2 seconds.
I felt like that was like, yo, you could have saved this for like the last song, but you want to start off your album giving birth? No, right. I'm completely turned off.
All right, so I just want to respond to two things that Rob said. So what happens with an artist when they go on tour, the label takes a gauge of how many hard ticket sales they can sell. So they wouldn't put Tiana Taylor in Madison Square Garden, not saying that she can't. I'm going to say it. She can't fill out Madison Square Garden by herself. She would have to like be an opener for Kanye West. That's why it's a big deal when artists do it, right? So they put her somewhere where they know that she could sell out the seats. So that's why they will put her somewhere like a PlayStation Theater to do that, right? Because she's still, even though like she's been in the game for a long time, this is only her third actual album. Yeah, her third album, right? So that's why she was put in those places and in those venues. The second album, she had a lot more control. Like, she actually got to hear the final product. This is what she wanted to put out and everything like that. But remember, this album was put out during COVID, so she couldn't tour for this album. So that's the thing. Like, you gotta understand. I understand why she's mad at the label, and I'm not saying like is this time it's not the label's fault, but like we're in COVID times right now, right? So let's say she got to put the album out in 2019 before COVID, and she got to go on tour. It might have made a huge difference, because think about it. Summer Walker, Ari Lennox put out projects, R&B projects that like did really well, right? But they were at least able to tour in that time. And Summer Walker barely toured. So
then my question to you, T, is we look at that out, like it's crazy. I look at Keep That Same Energy. I look at the last project, and those projects are nowhere near compared to 7 at all. And 7 didn't even get the amount of promo and the look that it was supposed to get at all. Like, I think her best album right now is Keep That Same Energy. 7 would be probably the second album. And I'm wondering, it's because it's less is more. You're coming from an artist who put out 7 songs that were almost completely perfect to putting out 24 songs and the album sounded all over the place.
But that's the funny thing.
I think that there is a part where the label.
The funny thing is that Tiana feels that the Keep That Same Energy album was a disaster because that's not what she turned in. The album was completely changed after she turned it in. So you see what I'm saying? Like, you think that album is a great album. I enjoy it too, but Tiana's not happy with it because that's not what she thought she was giving her fans. And she tells a story like, you know, when she woke up that morning, her friends were like, yo, your album's up. She was like, word, for real? Like, she didn't even know because like it was delayed so much because there were so many last minute changes being made. So
Push also talked about her. He talked about her leaving a lot of responsibility to the label to handle things, and when it wasn't done correctly, she'd turn around, spin the block, and be like, "Yo, why wasn't this done?" And it was like, "Well, you weren't hands-on enough with the album." So now you have a full album where you were hands-on, and even if you didn't go on tour, the album kind of came and went. When we let you control, we let you steer it. We let you have you had the keys to the car.
That's true, but I think that's why she.
So it's like,
no, that's true. I think that's why she specifically named Def Jam and not Good Music. I know like a lot of people look at it and they'll blame Kanye and they'll say, well, what Kanye didn't do and everything like that. But I think Kanye signing her was like, because she was in limbo before that because, you know, she had a situation with Pharrell. I think that she, you know, like Kanye gave her that. He was like, yo, I'm gonna get you a deal. I'm gonna do the best that I can. And I don't think that Kanye has as much control that we think. Kanye is a producer and he can executive produce albums and things like that. But maybe whatever deals, like we already saw how many times he renegotiates shit and gets things done or whatever like that. So I feel that a lot of things are kind of out of his hand, and we might not really think that. But like a lot of these artists that say that they have subsidiary labels you know, they don't have as much control as we think. We found out a lot about, you know, with other artists that had it, and I don't know. I think like on the creative side, yeah, like Kanye, you know, he has a lot of input and he has a lot to say, but I'm talking about as far as like budgets and things like that, like I don't think he has as much say as we think because he's not the one coming out of his pocket giving the money. That's Universal's money. So I
think that was the whole point of good music, to get out our dreams. So it was for the artists themselves. And I think that good music did definitely lose its vision and whatever the mission statement was. Because when Kanye created this back in 2004, you know that Kanye was that innovative, young African-American man who was like successful and in his prime, mad popular and influential, right? So it's like that's kind of lost now. I don't know what happened between 2004 and 10 years later. But that was lost for like a whole. He went from like the college dropout Kanye to MAGA Kanye, and his focus is just not there on his label anymore. So that's like what I would say on this whole good music thing. It was supposed to be for artists to get out their dreams, just like what he did for Big Sean was phenomenal, because Big Sean isn't Big Sean without this label. And so it was for artists to actually, you know, get there to where they wanted to get. And Tiana, I feel she has been abandoned, at least by good music. I know she said Def Jam, but she probably said that to like avoid any problems with, you know, her own celebrity friends or whatever.
I don't know, man. I think if I'm Tiana, like, I don't want problems with Universal because they the ones who cutting the checks. To me, good music, right? Like, all right, prime example. Big Sean has a shit contract, right? But when it first happened, it was all good. But I think as Sean has gotten on, like with his career, he's realized like, yo, this is a horrible contract. So I don't think that, like, yes, the mission statement and everything was cool, but I personally feel that like every artist has to like at good music probably size their contract, but they probably like were able to like renegotiate things and like have leverage. And I just think that like take somebody like a John Legend, he plays all the instruments, so I think he was given more control over like his music because he writes all of his own songs. Yeah. Big Sean was broke when he first got discovered, so they put a lot more money into it. So that's one thing that I do know about the music industry. How much money is put into you is how much money they're going to get back to you come hook or crook. So I just think that with artists like Tiana and Big Sean, when they can't put up their own money, the label puts up their own money, and then that's when Big Sean and Tiana need to pay attention very closely to the fine writing in their contract. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm pretty sure that they have lawyers that looked over their shit, but that's what happens with the label when you don't come to the label with that much clout. John Legend, I don't know anything about his contract, but I'm pretty sure that he's not in the same situation that they're in. because he's a
That nigga's never
songwriter
complaining.
and he plays his own instruments. So that means a lot of the things like he does on his own. So that's money not spent. But you know, to wrap this up and go to the next artist, I just think that I hope that Tiana continues to record, and I hope that she gets what she wants and she can go indie, and then she can do whatever, like, and then, you know, it's on her, and then she won't have to like be at, you know, a label's mercy. So going into the next artist, Saweetie, a lot of people are just, you know, like hedging their bets on what they think her career is going to be and things of that matter. And like, she's already run into like one problem with her label, and that is that they had a disagreement over which singles that she wanted released. And I just found that very interesting, because you would think that she's set up to like become like the next big female rapper from the like the looks of it, in a sense. All right, you see how Megan's going, and she's doing really good on TikTok. Saweetie, like, she kills on TikTok. Like, you know, she dates Quavo. Her songs are catchy, but it seems like she's kind of already being set up for failure, in the sense that, you know, the work that is coming out is not even the work that she wants to be out. So now she doesn't want to have anything to do with it. So now that starts to stand still, and now she's basically about on the verge, not she is, but about to just become like a celebrity and not a recording artist. Like, so that's the thing. Like, you know, like we love seeing her on Instagram, and like, you know, her songs have like, you know, made waves, but it seems like if she doesn't get things right with her label, like, she'll just become one of those artists that just become known as like a pretty face and a rapper's girlfriend, unfortunately.
I just think that the label needs to have a better understanding of the kind of artists that they have. So Saweetie is very much favored on social media, and I think they need to give her space to just do what she's doing on there, because she has a whole idea of the kind of artist that she wants to be, and it's working. So I think she's one of those artists that they can stand back and let drive. Like what she said, the thirst for clout and money is real, and it overrides the artist's art. Like, that's real. That's real shit. Like, I mean, sometimes you just gotta let the artist drive. You just can't get in the way of the greatness. Like, she's really building her audience on her own on her social media. So,
and she doing their job for them as far as marketing go.
Exactly.
Shit, you saving me money. Do your thing, sweetheart.
All they got to do is just let her drive. Like,
I gotta agree with that, because I'm not tapped into how much promotion they put in to the single she had with yeah, I just caught that myself. I'm not tapped into how much promo they put into her single with Janae, but like the fact that it started a whole debate about Birkin bags for like a whole week served as so much promo for that record. And I think it's a great record, and this is coming from an old head.
You seen her Birkin bag commercials, like the little vine she do where they argue with each other.
Yeah, good. Like I prefer her. Go ahead, sorry.
Yes. So it's to dovetail, not piggyback, to dovetail off of what Regg said. Like let her drive the boat, so to speak. Yeah. Like she's killing it right now.
To reply to what Regg said, I definitely agree. Like I prefer her as she can do her rap thing, but I honestly prefer her as a talent, as a personality, as a person that, of course she can do good on social media, but I see her as possibly a TV star or a model. That's just personally me. As far as her label doing dropping songs without her notice, I think that's wrong, because she's your moneymaker. Why wouldn't you want her approval? Why wouldn't it? Might be something that what she wants to fix. It might be a feature that she wants to add on. We don't know that. Y'all don't know that.
Okay.
I'm
not comparing the two women, but I definitely feel like Cardi's people let her drive.
And it's not a comparison.
Yeah, it's not a comparison.
Yeah, it's not a comparison. That's actually very, very true. I think that if I make this for you to make you money, I should have a say so too.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the label needs to now, I mean, we've come to the year where people are actually questioning what the labels are actually doing. Like, we're not artists, creatives are not slaves to the labels. So right. We need to rethink the whole business, the whole industry, and they need to take a step back and let influencers, we're now in the influencer age, and she is an influencer. She is that person. So, on social media. So they need to step back and let the creatives do what creatives do. The thirst for clout and money is real and it overrides the artist's art. I'm just quoting her.
Mm-hmm. And can I also just say one more thing? I feel like nowadays it's so possible to be more than one thing. Saweetie doesn't just have to be a recording artist. She could be a model. She could be a personality. She could be an actress or whatever the fuck she wants to be, and they just have to let her be that. Like it's 2020. Like who cares? As long as it's bringing in checks,
it's easier said than done. I think the labels are so used to creating stars. Like I think for as millennials, we're very spoiled in the sense that we grew up in a super era, supermodels, supercars, super fashion. Like everything was very big for us. Like everything was pre-packaged and given to us. We didn't watch it like mature and then in front of our eyes. So a lot of these artists, we're watching them become superstars instead of them being superstars given to us. So when it comes to Saweetie, like I think the label is like, well, she's doing things, but we don't know how to keep up with the same pace that she's becoming a celebrity. It's the same thing with Megan and the same thing with Cardi. Yeah, we can try to make the music, but these people are such big entities that we're watching real life data with everything they do pop, and we can't keep up with making these pre-pop moments like we used to be able to. You used to be able to send an artist to a radio station, they do an interview, you get bits and pieces off that interview. You send them to a late night show, they do an SNL skit, they do this and that. These are all pre-placed places where you can make it marketable. Now these artists are marketable clearly on their own. So like it's harder to keep up with that. And then sometimes I feel like the label is like, yo, we don't know what to do. We're in this space where we don't know what to do. And then when the new artists come in, they're like, yo, do what the other artist is doing. It's like, yo, I don't know how to do what Megan does. Megan's Megan, I'm me is me. And it's hard to create likability. Like it's hard to create likability and marketability. You just naturally have to have that.
Yeah, but
and I think that's where the labels are kind of messing up at.
I also think that speaks to how things aren't so linear anymore. And, some of these labels, managers, whoever's in charge, I feel like they probably need to catch up and figure out how to do things in the current landscape of, like all this information that we get, social media, this, that, and the third. And it's, I don't know, it's different. It's different. Like it's not. Yeah, exactly. Get with the times. You can't do new shit using old school methods anymore. Like it's just not going to work.
Could you imagine if TLC would have came out in the internet era and said, "Yo, our labels made me broke"? We would have packed that. They would have gotten saved a lot further than what they did. Or Tony Braxton, I actually was piss poor.
Well, my fault.
TLC got helped.
No, I'm just saying.
Well, I also want to factor in, right? If we're being honest, as far as Saweetie's career, her budget is like really, really expensive. So I don't know. Maybe there was a miscommunication on leaking it. Yeah, Saweetie's doing the groundwork, but all of her records that really popped are flips from old records.
The samples,
like a lot of them. All of them. Matter of fact,
that's how she started out. But this one with Janae is an original song.
The one that leaked, the one
that leaked is with Doja Cat.
Yeah, was that a sample?
I don't know. I didn't hear it. But I'm talking about the one that she had. All of them were samples. You're right, or sample driven.
Can I just chime in really quickly and just point out how. Like it's such a different time now that we're like, damn, the last 3 of her records were samples when that used to be a regular thing back in the 90s and 2000s.
Started.
But those
Like
artists,
I don't even think no.
That's crazy to me.
James,
That's crazy to me.
Jamesy, here's my thing. I don't even think it's samples. It's literally remakes. I think there's a difference between sampling a song and creating a new version to it, or just like a 10-year anniversary remix. A lot of her records to me is like a 20-year anniversary remix.
Yo,
not
Elliot,
much of a change.
I mean,
it's like when you listen to I was watching Duckworth, and if you listen to the
never talk about Brooklyn again with that whack ass service, bro.
Y'all don't own that service providers anyway. My fault.
I just wanted to.
What I was saying is like I was watching an interview with Ninth Wonder, and he was talking about when he made Duckworth, he took the same vocals from Splash Waterfalls with Ludacris. Same sample, completely different sound, completely different feeling. That's what sampling should be, where you take a sample, you bend it at your will to what you want it to sound like. Unfortunately, with these new artists, we're not getting any sort of way of them bending the sound to a brand new song that we haven't heard.
I gotta agree on that one, Rob.
Can I chime in again and say that, you know, when I hear Smooth Operator, I'm not like, oh, that's not Smooth Operator, that's still Kenny Burke. You know what I mean? Like when I hear Love No Limit, I'm not like, oh, fuck Mary J. Blige, that's still Kenny Burke. I'm like, that's Love No Limit by Mary J. Blige, that's Smooth Operator by Big Daddy Kane. Like, how come we don't give that same same treatment to newer artists? Because at the end of the day, that sample is still heavily rising to the top by Kenny Burke. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is the thing. The reason why sampling works is because they're songs that already worked. So they're going to work again when they're on radio because they remind them of a song that we already heard. The reason why we mentioned sampling though, James, is because how much money some of these artists charge when you sample their songs or whenever you use a chord or a drum or a snare. And for a label that charges, they have to pay for that. The artist isn't paying for that out of pocket. Some artists do, but so that's what causes the issue for an artist like Saweetie. She samples a lot. So take example like this, right? Now I'm going to zero off. The reason why like Mace never got made as much money as he wanted to was because most of the songs that Puff and the Hitmen produced were sampled records. So obviously Puff should change that and get Mace out of. Well, I think he got Mace out of his contract, but that was way too long. But and at that time, he was like, "Yo, you just a kid off the street. I'm giving you a hit record. It's a sample. The sample costs money. You're going to get this record." So I think like it's always been a thing with samples. And remember, in that time, they were like dissing Puff for using samples and taking hit songs from the 80s and shit, right? So I think like it's something that has always happened because like a lot of people want producers to do like what Rob said and make the beat their own and twist it and distort it. And you'd be like, wow, I didn't even know that was that song, versus it just being a song with just a person rapping over it. So I think that's where like the distaste for some people with sampling a song. They're like, yo, you didn't even try. Like this is not.
I get that. I mean, I personally don't mind it. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I wonder what it'd be like if I heard like a ratchet female rapper, not to use that term, I'm sorry, but like, over blow the whistle.
So James,
what about look at? And it's like a reminder, and it's like paying homage almost to.
And look at Big O Freak.
I mean, but listen, we gotta talk about the type of rapper that Saweetie is. She's not your traditional rapper. She's a pop rapper. So when you talk about Ninth Wonder, that's not the way how I flip a sample. Look who you talking about. You talking about Ninth Wonder compared to Dr. Luke, who's the guy who produced Tapped In. And if you look at his background, he's mostly produced for Saturday Night Live, Britney Spears, Avril Lavigne.
I didn't know that. She worked with Dr. Luke?
Hold on. That was Dr. Luke? What?
Damn.
That's crazy.
That's bad news.
Crazy.
That's
that's terrible news.
So then my next question is, why is it, you're saying type of rapper, but we look at Big O Freak. Big O Freak has a sample. but it still gives this, the sample still, you hear the sample, but the song has its own natural sound opposed to the sample. And the sample is clearly in the beginning of the song. So I still say that there's a certain degree of effort you have to put in where you bend the song and make it your own. To the point now with Saweetie's
what
career,
he did.
I mean,
yes, he did. Listen, whether that's your opinion or not, that's subjective. That's subjective. That's your Wale. I can't wait to talk about sneakers type of guy. But we're talking about Saweetie, bro. We're talking about a bad joint that's making music for bad joints. And bad joints don't like all that deep lyrical shit. Most of the time they don't. They go for the poppy shit that's gonna get them going in the club. Saweetie's not the type of girl that's gonna give me J Electronica bars. I don't ever want to hear that from her.
I never said that. I was talking about the producer. I was not talking about the artist. What I'm saying is that the songs that
they go hand in hand, Rob.
Okay, so even they go hand in hand. You have other artists who are making songs with samples in it and making the sample their own.
That's that type of artist. That's that type of creative. And what he's saying is that she's not that type of creative, that she's not that type of artist.
Simple as that.
People are taking those samples and making it their own. That's that type of creative.
So I just come from
that was her artistic vision for that song.
I just come from a place where if it's good enough for my old heads, my OGs, then it's good enough for me. Because I've heard like iconic records from like the 90s and the 80s that have sampled old like funk records and left it the way it was. They just rapped over that same rhythm, that same beat, and it's considered like a classic. So what's good enough for them back then is good enough for Saweetie to me.
Why are you laughing so much? How are you just
LaShawn texted me. He was like, watch Rob fold. Watch Rob fold. Well, oh, he folded. In real time, he kept saying repeatedly, watch him fold. Watch him fold.
I just be dying. I'm like, wait, I gotta know. Joke.
Errol, are you interested in hearing this Saweetie album? Like, do you think it's gonna be a standout, or like, how do you feel?
If I'm interested in hearing her latest, yeah, I'll be down to listen to that. I see how popular it is, and that's what makes me, want to get in tune with what's, what are my peers listening to today, and like, especially for women, is like. It is a type of empowerment. Some people, you could say ratchet, but no, it's a type of empowerment. It's owning that and just being the bad bitch that you are, And it's not just for a gender. It's for everyone to just feel boss, And so, I'll be so interested in hearing that.
I'm definitely, after hearing Back to the Streets, I'm sold on Saweetie. And just like Carolina said, like, yo, like when Janae said, I hit it first and I passed it to Saweetie, I was like, yo, all right, that's dope. I like that.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I think Saweetie is extremely attractive, so she had my support from that. And
I'm with you on that one, Torian.
Yeah, and
just on that strength.
Yeah, like off the strength because she looks great. But I do like her music. Our boy Felix like champions her a lot. And I checked it out because I was just like, anytime he does this with artists, I check him out just to see like, all right, is he trolling us or is he serious? and from that, I was like, oh, I actually do like her. I do. So that's a plus, So I'm definitely going to check out the project when she drops it because in my head, in my brain, I'm creating that like Quavo is going to like help and help her with that because I think that Quavo is like a really good A&R. As far as like musically. And I think that he's going to be able to like help her in that if she needs the help. She might not need the help. I'm not saying that like the man is doing all that, but I'm just saying like, your man is a part of one of the best selling rap groups of all time. Why wouldn't you want him to help you out, right? Why not use that asset? So I think that she's going to deliver a strong project. Now, will she be able to compete with the Megan, Cardi, and the Cardis of the world? That's that case is still out, but
she's in the conversation. I mean,
No, that's what I'm saying. Like she's on the rise, and we'll see. I mean, right now Cardi is chilling. Megan put out her project and it's doing well. I think it's almost at like 200,000 sold. So we'll see. I mean, and then like there's other female artists that are out right now, but I think that like Saweetie is like right above all of them. I think like she's like only fourth. Or no, well, fifth, because Rhapsody is always going to be,
Rhapsody.
I'll never ever not acknowledge Rhapsody. Like she's a fucking queen.
Yeah, the best lyricist.
Yeah, she's one of the top lyricists. Period, not female, just lyricists. Period, right?
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so I'll just say that. All right, everybody, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm Taurian B.
I'm First Class Regg.
All right, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.